So we're starting to work on the 1967 C10 short wide bed pickup project that we got going on. And it has rust above the windshield. This one turned out to be a disaster. It is going to be a lot more complicated to fix than any of them I've attacked yet. If you're curious about what we ran into, stick around. If this type of work interests you, go ahead and subscribe. We do this all the time. Make a comment, leave a like. All right, let's get into this. Welcome back to RandomRodShop, folks. All right, so I told you guys that given I'm in the eyebrow mode, I might as well do the eyebrow on this 67. So I got it off the, I had it on the frame. I've got it off the frame, got it set in here and started cleaning it out. Got the windshield out of it. Discovered something that you really never want to see. Let me get the camera down. This thing has pop rivets, and you can see them there. It has pop rivets. Some of them are rusty, but you can see that one. Around, so it has pop rivets around where the windshield pinch seam is. And as I kept digging, it has pop rivets all the way along this top, all the way back to here. And there's obviously a seam there. I think that's where the factory seam is. So the pop rivets go from here all the way around to, again, the seam. I thought, well, I don't think that's factory. The next is, and this is when I decided that you guys might be interested in this. So I was getting ready to pull the door rubber off. Well, there doesn't appear to be any pop rivets there. Well, there appears to be pop rivets there. And it appears they go back again to the seam right here. Let's have a look at the other side. Well, it appears that the pop rivets on this side go back to the about where that seam's at. All right. So at some point it feels like the roof has been off. And the pop rivets don't come down as A-pillar. And it looks like this is factory paint, so whatever happened, it looks like it was the top. I wonder if the top was matched. I wonder if we can tell on the inside whether that inside, because these trucks have two panels, right? They've got an inner panel and then the roof. Let's see if we can tell if this thing's been welded on. Well, I'll get something to scratch at, but that looks like some sort of steel welding rod right there. I can't tell. If the factory did it, you can almost bet it was brass at this time, but I don't know. Let's look at the other side. Yeah. Well, that doesn't look like a factory weld to me. So it would appear that there was probably some damage of some sort, and they had to replace the inner panel and the top. So the inner panel, if they had the top off, then they could get to that weld seam along the back. That means there should be some sign of welding. I haven't got the back glass out, but it doesn't look like this was replaced. I think somewhere around here, and I guess I'm guessing that it was along that seam. Not sure how they welded that in though. It's interesting that I've got sort of a line, a witness line right there, but that could have just been, that just could be, had something sitting on it or something. I don't know. I can't feel anything. I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to sand this down at least to the point I can figure out what's going on here. Figure out whether that's lead or filler. I forgot to show you the highbrow. I got so carried away. With trying to figure this out and what the plan's gonna be. I forgot to show you the eyebrow. Let me show you the eyebrow. You can tell it's had some work. That's where the other visor was, and I don't know if they bondoed that or plugged it. I don't know, but you can see the witness line for the sun visor. Anyway, I haven't decided whether I'm gonna cut this out yet, but definitely gonna do some sanding, cleaning along the back and the top. See if I can figure out where they put this thing together. Definitely gonna get all the pop rivets out and see if we can put it back together with maybe some welding. I'll get back to you when I get some of this stuff cleaned up. Okay, so I think I know what they did. Let me take the camera around and take you to the back of the cab. All right, so they opened the inner, they replaced the inner panel, and I was curious how they handled the cab, or the top of the cab. So I got most of the lead off. Looks like I may have to hit it again, but they came through and welded, and I'm assuming that's a gas weld, but given it's lead, I'm assuming this is an old repair. So I'm assuming that's gas weld, and they just set the top in and stitched the top in, and then they let it over the whole thing. They didn't do a very good job of getting things lined up, but there were some areas that had quite a bit of lead on it. So the question, yeah, that right there isn't lined up very well at all. It's not too bad out here on the sides. Anyway, the question is, where do we go from here? Given the top is spot welded on, given the top is riveted on, there we go. I guess I'm inclined to cut those stitch welds across the back and have a look and see what's going on. We know from the 57 that the top's not on. It makes fixing that eyebrow a lot easier. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I may regret that, but I'm going to spot weld there. I'm going to take all the rivets out and spot weld this thing in anyway, so we might as well get after it. So I'm gonna get my grinder, and let's see. Actually, I may cut all the rivets out first and just see how much wiggle I got on the back side. It may not be welded as good as we think it is. All right, let me get a drill, and I'm gonna start drilling out spot welds. Well, I can't say that didn't take a while. Let's see what we got. All right, this thing was brazed on. I thought it was gas welded, but it was actually brazed on, which makes me think it is an older repair. So this is where that thing's supposed to be spot welded. It's interesting, I'm noticing now, it has rivets along this back edge. So, okay, so that top panel is completely riveted in. Looks like we got a mouse house in there. And they just put a piece of plate over the hole and bonded up the inside. Well, truthfully, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It ain't great, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Well, I've got the front edge, I got the rivets all busted on the front edge. Well, I need to go see what repair panels I got. It doesn't look like this is terrible. I think it can be cleaned up. It's kind of crusty on the sides here, but it still seems to be solid. I don't know. I'm gonna have to decide. Now that I got the roof off, it sure would be nice to put a new one on and not have to deal with rust. Alright folks, it's been a couple of days. Actually, it's been 4 or 5 days. While I was trying to decide what to do and how to attack this problem. Now, I could patch this in, right? I have the patch panel that I had purchased, and I could patch that in, but there's actually quite a bit of rust, and I really don't like these pop rivets holding everything together in this cab. So what I decided to do was to make a 4.5 hour trip to Lenexa, Kansas, to LMC, and pick up some new panels. Let me show you. All right. Well, it's got a little sticker on it that says Made in Taiwan. I'm happy about that. Ah, this one is too. So I decided to go with the complete outer and inner panel, and the new outside cab header. Now, without a doubt, I believe I could have fixed the panels that were there. You know, basically cutting the rusty piece out of the old panel and putting the patch in. But those panels, there's places along the sides of both panels that's going to have to be cut out and replaced. And I showed you earlier, there's a little rust on these corners on the outside panel. Also, and I didn't even think about this, where the rear view mirror goes, you can't get that in terms of a repair panel. Let me show you the repair panel. So the repair panel is for, I don't know if it's the deluxe edition or just the 72, but the repair panel has a different mounting for the rear view mirror. In terms of repair panels, I believe this is the only repair panel you can get. For the complete header, you can get both. So I could have gotten the complete header with that embossed section for the late model rear view mirror. But this is what the truck had in it. Now, I'm definitely one of those type of car guys that I'd much rather make than buy. But it doesn't take long of figuring out how many inches of weld you got to do and all the fixing you got to do to make I think this roof panel. I mean, it wasn't cheap. The two panels were like $500, but I could see myself spending 2 weekends trying to fix all the, the rust, because the stock hood has some thin parts along the edge where it's welded. Anyway, it was painful for me, but this is definitely a situation where I really think buying the new panels was better in the long run than trying to fix the old ones. Like I said, it was painful, but I think it's the right answer in this case. So what we're going to have to do is need to take the top out. I've already got the top off, or the outer shell off, but we're going to have to pull this off and replace this front header. I think I'm going to have to be very strategic about how this thing comes apart. First thing, I need to spend some time getting this cab level. Right now it's got a little bit of a rock cut. I want to get it set on blocks so that it's absolutely level. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this front panel first, get it positioned, then take the inner panel out and put it in there so that I can, my goal is to stabilize this cab as much as possible. I'll probably still put in a couple of cross braces because I don't want the dimension of the door frame to change, and I definitely don't want these A-pillars to move. So I'm going to spend quite a bit of time thinking about the best way to take this apart and put it back together. That said, I can tell you I'm going to spend a lot more time cleaning and getting ready to mount the metal than I will be mounting the metal. I'm going to do my best to get it all cleaned up. Going to rust protect it, grind rust off, rust protect it, paint it, you know, put some welds through primer on in places, and seeing if we can get it together. I didn't anticipate this being a two-part video on fixing this, but it's going to be a two-part video. If you're new to the channel and you want to see how this C10 got to the point it's at, got a playlist built. I think we were up to 18 videos at this point, and you can get up to speed with this build. Well, I do a lot of grinding and cleaning and just nasty work while we try to sort out this old school repair. I mean, quite honestly, this repair lasted 50 years probably. So, you know, I can't say too much bad about it, but this day and age we don't use POC rivets, and hopefully we try to do a little rust protecting. Go ahead and click on the playlist, it should pop up here. And until next time, I'm Random at RandomRodShop, and I'm out of here.